Meghan is a trained actress. What she does is that she studies people. She's not a good actress, but she is a trained one, right? She's been doing it her entire life. And there is no doubt that she studied Princess Diana. She studied her mannerisms towards Harry when he was a boy and the way that she grabs her face. And this is the psychopathic elements of what she does, putting a pregnancy text next to Princess Diana's hair, saying that she put her hands on the grave to have a conversation with her, bursting into tears.
January 2026 just lit up TV screens everywhere because Piers Morgan went absolutely nuclear on live television. The same cat who lost his Good Morning Britain gig for refusing to back down over Meghan Markle is back in the spotlight louder than ever. And this time he rolled up loaded with receipts, and the timing couldn't be worse for Meghan. She had just dropped her Netflix cooking series, With Love, Meghan, all polished and pretty, when Piers jumped on it like a hawk. The photos, the scenes, the vibe, the whole setup, he shredded it piece by piece on Piers Morgan Uncensored. He didn't even survive 10 minutes before pulling the plug, and that alone says a lot. He straight up called it unwatchable, labeled it the ultimate vanity project, and exposed what he claims are fake moments, staged shots, and carefully planned images Meghan tried selling as real. And here's why this hit harder than normal criticism. Piers isn't just some loud voice chasing clicks. He actually knew Meghan before she cut him off after meeting Harry. That insider angle makes everything way more explosive. When Piers says, "The photos reveal who Meghan really is," people listen. He's watched how she moves, how she builds her image, and how she controls the narrative. So when he breaks it down on live TV, it lands different. This wasn't casual talk. This was a full-on public takedown. So yeah, buckle in because what Piers exposed on air could seriously crack the image Meghan has spent years carefully shaping.
Every time I see her demanding to be called Duchess of Sussex, I laugh. Nobody in Britain calls her that. It's Meghan Markle. You know, she got lucky, met her prince, dragged him out of the bosom of his family, dragged him away from the monarchy.
Let's break down exactly how this all went down on Piers Morgan Uncensored. The second Meghan's Netflix show dropped, Piers said he felt forced to watch it, not out of excitement, but because he already knew it would be comedy gold. On his show, Piers said, "I tried watching it, and after honestly about 3-4 minutes, I was done. It was just unwatchable." 3 to 4 minutes. That's all he could take before tapping out. In another clip, he claimed he powered through 10 minutes, but either way, he couldn't finish even one full episode. And that alone sends a loud message about how rough this show really is. Piers described the series as the ultimate vanity project, saying it's nothing but people hyping Meghan up while she does the same to herself. Every frame feels designed to admire her, every guest exists just to praise her, and every moment circles back to how amazing she supposedly is. Think about how wild that sounds. A cooking show where the food isn't the focus. It's not about learning skills, flavors, or techniques. It's about selling the Meghan brand, not recipes. Promotion, and Piers clocked that instantly because he knows the playbook she uses. Now let's get into the visuals that Piers really went after because this part hit hard. Meghan filmed a show in what she presents as her Montecito home, calm, cozy, and personal, except Piers pointed out a major detail. It's not even her house. According to him, the estate used for filming doesn't belong to Meghan at all. It was borrowed, and that blew the whole authentic image apart. You can't sell With Love, Meghan from your home when the home isn't yours. That's the kind of detail Piers says exposes the act.
There they are. They're straight there, and I'm afraid I'm very cynical. I think it's purely for PR. It's purely for self-promotional reasons. They just want to be seen to be a rival royal family who are doing what the royals do, but they're not royals anymore. They don't do anything to earn the title.
By the way, is going to celebrate the joys of cooking, or at least something she's doing. Her Netflix show, I guess, is going to celebrate the joys of cooking, gardening, entertaining, and friendship, Piers. She's going to be teaching us how to be a good friend.
Well, as one of the many friends that she cut off.
The photos show Meghan in a flawless kitchen. Pro-level equipment, perfect lighting, every angle carefully planned. Piers called it out on air. This wasn't casual living. It was staged top to bottom. And then there's the content itself. Making coffee, baking a basic cake. That's what viewers are being shown. Piers didn't hold back, pointing out how strange it is to package everyday tasks as something groundbreaking. Teaching people how to make coffee, really? According to Piers, that says everything about what this show is actually trying to sell. She presents the whole thing like she's reinventing hospitality itself. Piers didn't miss the flower arranging scenes either. The camera lingers on photos of Meghan gently placing flowers into vases, framed like she just invented floral design. Simple hosting basics are treated like rare wisdom, and that's the trick being played here. You can see the pattern clearly. Every image is carefully crafted to make Meghan look talented, creative, and ultra-sophisticated. But when you strip it down, she's doing everyday tasks and acting like they're special just because she's the one doing them. That's the illusion Piers keeps calling out. Then came the moment Piers said revealed everything about Meghan's mindset, and it happened during an interaction with her friend Mindy Kaling. Mindy makes a harmless comment saying people wouldn't believe that Meghan Markle ate at Jack in the Box. Sounds innocent, right? Not to Meghan. She immediately jumps in to correct her. Meghan says, "It's so funny too that you keep saying Meghan Markle. You know, I'm Sussex now." Not Meghan, not her name. Sussex. She wanted the title used instead. Piers went straight for this moment on his show. He pointed out how strange it is by saying, "I come from Sussex in England. It's a county on the south coast. It has several million people living in it." His point was clear. Wanting to be called by a place name isn't normal, and it sounds ridiculous when you really think about it.
Because I had to leave my show, Good Morning Britain, you may remember, for casting doubt over the allegations of racism and the denial of treatment for mental health issues that Meghan Markle said she was denied by Buckingham Palace. Interestingly, in his 420-word page or so book, his own story.
Here's where the contradiction gets loud. Meghan and Harry said they left royal life because they didn't want the system, the pressure, or the spotlight. They said they wanted privacy and a normal life. Yet here she is on a Netflix show, correcting her friend and insisting on a royal title. She doesn't want to be Meghan Sussex. She wants the title alone. According to Piers, that's because without it, the mystique disappears. Without the title, she's just an actress who married into fame. That's the tension he exposed so clearly. The camera captures it all too. Meghan's expression when she corrects Mindy, the slight irritation that someone used her actual name. That moment wasn't scripted away, and it tells its own story. Once it's on film, it's there forever. Now here's why Piers Morgan's criticism hits harder than most. This isn't just another media figure throwing opinions around. There's history here. Piers met Meghan back in 2016. They connected through Twitter. She reached out first, telling him she was a fan. They messaged often and built what Piers believed was a real friendship. Eventually, they met in person at a pub in London. Piers has described it clearly. "We had 2 hours in the pub. She had a couple of dirty martinis, and we got on brilliantly." Everything seemed friendly and genuine at the time. That same night, Piers put Meghan into a cab. That cab took her to a party where she met Prince Harry. The next night, Meghan and Harry had dinner, and after that, Piers says he never heard from Meghan Markle again. She completely cut him off the moment she entered royal circles. No explanation, no goodbye, just silence. Piers later said, "I really liked her. This is why it hurts. I just think she's a slight social climber, I'm afraid."
And if it means I leave a show that I love, that's on fire and doing great in the ratings, so be it. And I've never regretted that, because actually, sometimes in life, you've got to stand up for what you believe in and don't let other people try and bully you in the way that I was. Meghan Markle wrote to the boss of the network.
I know.
When they have no connection now with any of their family, bar one or two people, I find it very hard to believe that makes anybody happy. So it's at one level, it's sad. Another level, it makes me quite angry, the damage they've caused to the monarchy. I think most British people are sick and tired of them. The polling has them now below Prince Andrew, which I didn't think would be humanly possible.
So, when Piers breaks down Meghan's Netflix show, when he questions the staged photos and polished moments, he's not speaking as a distant observer. This is personal, and that's what gives his words extra weight. He's someone who saw up close how Meghan operates, how relationships work for her, and how quickly people can be dropped once they're no longer useful. That's why this criticism cuts deeper. Meghan can't brush it off as random hate because Piers isn't guessing. He saw behind the curtain long before most people did. Let's go back to what Piers exposed about this Netflix mess, because calling it a vanity project isn't just him being harsh, it's accurate. The entire show exists for one purpose, to sell the Meghan Markle brand, the Sussex brand. Every episode is carefully designed to make her look flawless, admired, and important. Piers summed it up perfectly when he described the real content of the show. He said it's the ultimate kind of vanity project where it's all about people telling Meghan how great she is, her telling everyone how great she is. That's not storytelling, that's self-promotion. The photos Netflix released show Meghan laughing with celebrity friends, arranging flowers, and preparing meals. But if you actually study those images, something jumps out immediately. Every shot is perfectly lit, every angle is planned. Meghan's makeup is flawless in every single frame. These are not natural, off-the-cuff moments. These are professional photo shoots dressed up as everyday life. Piers clocked it instantly because he knows what real unscripted moments look like. And this isn't it. Look at real cooking shows for comparison. Things go wrong, food spills, the chef gets messy, there's actual teaching happening. Meghan's show doesn't have that. It's an Instagram-filtered version of reality, built to look effortless while being tightly staged behind the scenes.
Harry has never met his father-in-law to this day. He's not allowed Thomas Markle to meet his grandkids. And yet the first sign of any disaster, mass shooting, any opportunity where they can go and pretend to be comforters in chief when they're not even asked for or required or needed, there they are. They're straight there.
Meghan Sussex appears to have served up a helping of subtle shade, getting a jar of her new as-ever jam to a rather unexpected recipient, ITV weather presenter Alex Beresford. The gesture has been widely interpreted as a pointed, if understated, response to longtime critic Piers Morgan. Mr. Morgan, the former Good Morning Britain host, has been openly hostile towards the Duchess for years.
Now here's the context that makes Piers' latest attack even more serious. This is the same man who lost his Good Morning Britain job because he refused to back down on Meghan. Back in March 2021, Meghan and Harry did the Oprah interview. Meghan claimed she felt suicidal and said members of the royal family were racist. The very next morning on GMB, Piers said, "I don't believe a word she said, Meghan Markle. I wouldn't believe it if she read me a weather report." That statement triggered chaos. Over 58,000 complaints flooded in. Meghan herself complained to ITV. The pressure exploded. Piers' colleague confronted him on air, saying he kept criticizing Meghan because she cut him off. Piers stood up, said, "I'm done with this," and walked off set mid-show. Hours later, Piers quit Good Morning Britain. His ITV career ended because he refused to apologize for doubting Meghan's claims. Later on, Ofcom cleared him completely, ruling that he hadn't broken any rules and that his opinion was protected speech. But by then, the damage was already done. That history matters when Piers attacks Meghan's Netflix show. Now, when he exposes the staged photos and polished scenes, he's speaking as someone who already paid a massive price for telling his version of the truth. He already lost a career over this. That's why his criticism hits so hard. He has nothing left to lose, and that makes his words hard to ignore. Now let's break down what Piers says people miss when they look at these Netflix photos. At first glance, it might look like a cozy, elegant cooking show. But once you know what to watch for, the illusion starts falling apart. First up, the borrowed mansion. Every image screams wealth and calm luxury, presenting this stunning Montecito estate as Meghan's everyday home. Except, according to Piers, it isn't her home at all. She borrowed the mansion specifically for this show, and that detail matters more than people realize. Meghan's entire brand is built on authenticity. She's presenting this as her real life, her personal space, her everyday world. But none of it is hers. It's borrowed, carefully staged, and performed for the camera. Next comes the professional styling. Look closely at the promotional photos. Meghan's hair is flawless in every frame. Her makeup never shifts. Her outfits are perfectly coordinated. The lighting is studio level, not something you get from a kitchen window.
No.
Sorry, no. Sorry.
Do you know what? That's pathetic.
You can track him, maybe not my own stuff.
No.
See you later.
I'm being...
Sorry, can't do
This is
this.
absolutely diabolical behaviour. I'm sorry, but Piers spouts off on a regular basis, and we all have to sit there and listen. 6:30 to 7 o'clock yesterday was incredibly hard to watch.
This isn't someone casually cooking at home. It's a full production with stylists, lighting teams, and a controlled set. Then there's the staging itself. Every flower arrangement looks museum-ready. Every ingredient is placed just right. Every counter is spotless. That's not how real cooking works. Real kitchens get messy, real people make mistakes, real moments aren't this polished. But none of that appears here. Piers broke all of this down on live television, calling out every calculated angle, every staged moment, and every polished photo for millions to see. And that's what made it hit so hard. This wasn't a guess. It was a pattern he says he's seen before. What really makes Piers' criticism devastating is that he warned people years ago. Back when Meghan was widely praised, Piers was already questioning the image. In 2016, he called her a social climber. People dragged him for it. They said he was bitter. They said he was jealous. They said he was just angry about being cut off. But look at what followed. Meghan married Harry. She became distant from parts of her family. Friendships faded. Harry's relationship with his brother broke down. They stepped away from royal duties, moved to California, and started selling themselves as a brand. Every move followed the same direction. According to Piers, the pattern he predicted played out exactly as he expected. Strategic relationships, image control, fame, and money taking priority over personal ties. That's why when he looks at these Netflix photos now and calls them fake, he's not speaking in theory. He believes he's being proven right again. Some people might ask why it matters if Piers dislikes a cooking show, but this isn't just about taste. Piers Morgan has reach. Millions watch his show. Millions follow him online. And he didn't lightly criticize the series. He said he couldn't even get through it. He called it unwatchable and said it felt like pure self-worship. That's serious damage. Netflix reportedly paid Meghan and Harry a massive deal for content, and this show is part of it. If viewers skip it, if reviews turn negative, it affects their future with the platform. Public perception matters, and Piers' takedown shapes that conversation. Someone might have tuned in out of curiosity, but hearing that someone who actually knew Meghan personally couldn't last 10 minutes changes minds. People will scroll right past it, and that's exactly the scenario Meghan didn't want. What makes this even more telling is that the images Piers mocked weren't random leaks. These were the official Netflix promotional photos, the best shots, the ones Meghan and her team chose to represent the show. And yet Piers saw through them instantly. Instead of warmth or relatability, he saw staging. He saw a performance. He saw a woman trying hard to look relatable while filming inside a borrowed mansion with a professional crew surrounding her. When Piers looked at the photo of Meghan making coffee, he didn't see anything deep or meaningful. He saw someone trying to turn a basic task into something profound. The image of Meghan arranging flowers didn't read as warmth or creativity to him either. It came across as carefully planned aesthetics with very little substance behind it. And the photo of Meghan surrounded by celebrity friends? Piers saw name-dropping disguised as connection. According to his breakdown, every single promotional image Netflix released followed the same pattern. Nothing felt natural, nothing felt spontaneous. Every shot appeared designed to push an image rather than tell a real story. Once you hear his interpretation, it's hard to unsee it. Those photos never look the same again, no matter how polished they are. So where does this leave things now? Piers just delivered one of his harshest critiques of Meghan yet on live television. He labeled the show unwatchable, questioned the intent behind the visuals, and openly challenged the image being sold. Meghan now has two paths forward: respond or stay silent. If she responds, she feeds the moment. That brings more attention, more debate, and more fuel for Piers to keep talking. If she ignores it, the criticism just hangs in the air, untouched. Millions already heard Piers say he couldn't sit through the show. Millions heard him question the authenticity behind the photos. That kind of commentary doesn't disappear quietly. Either way, Piers walks away in a strong position. He's framed himself as the one voice willing to speak openly while others stay cautious. And here's the part that clearly unsettles Meghan's supporters. Piers isn't going anywhere. He now runs Piers Morgan Uncensored online. Without network executives or corporate filters, he has total freedom to speak his mind. That means every new project, every interview, every carefully released image could face the same sharp scrutiny. He's positioned himself as a permanent critic, not a passing headline. Let's be honest, people often accuse Piers of being obsessed with Meghan Markle. That criticism follows him everywhere, and there may be some truth to it. He clearly hasn't let this story go, and he likely never will. But here's why his words continue to land over time. Many of the patterns he warned about have lined up with how events unfolded. He believes ambition played a major role. He believes image mattered more than relationships. He believes status became the priority. Whether people agree or not, those views are now reinforced in his mind by this Netflix project. To Piers, the cooking show and its photos represent the same issue he's been pointing out for years. He sees a heavy focus on presentation with very little underneath. The images, in his view, show someone trying hard to sell relatability while surrounded by production teams and controlled settings. That doesn't mean Meghan won't recover. She likely will. She has resources, supporters, and platforms that many people don't. But the bigger question is trust. Once someone who knew her personally says he couldn't even watch 10 minutes of her being herself, that doubt sticks. Piers Morgan went all in. He questioned the photos, challenged the show, and pushed back against the image being presented. Whether people love him or hate him, his critique has cracked the illusion for many viewers. And when that illusion breaks, it's very hard to rebuild it the same way again. If you watch this and have thoughts, drop them in the comments below. If this breakdown made you see things differently, hit subscribe and stay locked in for more deep dives like this. Don't forget to smash that like button and share it with someone who needs to see it.